is Ruth from Artful Sass Design. I'm here today to give you a quick run through of my latest sewing journal. I've made it with the same kit as I've used before and I just can't seem to resist. So this has got a completely fabric cover and I have used the weaving technique I've used before. So it's tied together with some cotton and I've trimmed it with a little bit of lace, and over the spine the fabric has got some embroidery, and I've just done some French knots, some straight stitching, seed stitching and a little bit of bullion where it picks out the pattern. It's just a little pretty way of closing the journal. So the cover is made of woven strips of recycled fabrics. So we've got some silk and some cotton, and I have intersected all the up and down areas of the weaving with different embroidery stitches. It's quite time consuming, but it's very good fun to sit and do it of an evening when you've not got anything else on the go. And there's a beautiful crochet doily over the spine which just picks out and adds an extra layer of texture. We've got some bullion stitch, some French knots, and it just highlights the woven aspects of the material. And I've just trimmed it with a couple of different kinds of lace, and here we go. So we've got 3 signatures in this one. It's a very big fat one. I maybe should have made the spine a bit bigger, but I've enjoyed it very much. So inside I've got an extra piece of lace trim along the bottom, and we've got this beautiful antique lace pocket. Now, to keep the lace, which is quite old, I've actually put an acetate background, and that means that the card is slipping behind the acetate and is not actually going to hurt the lace. So that's one of Mrs. Cox's images, and here we go. So the first signature, one of the pages from the kit, and here we have a fabric pocket. So I've got some pretty embroidery here, and again, picking out the pattern, I've used French knots just to emphasize the pattern. And I have a little notebook made out of a double tag and some antique old papers and tea stained papers, lined papers. And these are part of the kit, and the thread holders there, picking up the colours from the pocket. Tea stained paper with a little stenciling. And here we have the first flap out. And this one is a triple, so I'll have to move over a little bit to see. So I have an extra little pocket there and one of the thread holders. Another little flap here. And again, the flap is all embroidered with material. Well, moving back to the journal, so we've got some lavender and a little journal card with a pink paper clip, and it's picked up on the side decoration. Some some Italian papers from Roxy Creations. This is from the collage from the kit, and some paper to make you be able to write. I like the folded down top with some textile collage and some threads, giving it some interest and dimension. On this side, to hide stitching, I've got some threads and a little bit of collage. Tiny little pocket on this side, and some that is a Tim Holtz stencil. Again, just a tiny little double fold tag. And here we have a recycled envelope, so I have made a little tag for it, and that sits in there. Some recycled on the back, and some old book page with some very fine old paper, which was so fine that I decided it wasn't going to survive being stuck in by itself, so it's stuck down to protect it. And here we have a little tag, again with the same stencil by Tim Holtz. Some more papers from the kit. Here I've done some DMC embroidery thread. It's decoration, and that's the center of the first signature. So we have a little envelope with a journal card. It comes with the kit. That's one of my background papers from the motherhood journal. and this is some old recycled linen, and it makes a nice pocket on this side using the button to keep it shut. And we've got some very delicate embroidery along the top and some two little tiny cards just to fit in. This is a very old handkerchief with a lace edge, so it needs to be treated with a little bit of care. And more places to journal in, some pages from the kit, and here we have a fabric sample on one of the thread holders, and some of the fine sayings, some very old paper from 1940, I think the book was written. The other side of the recycled envelope with a journal card, and it's got recycled paper on the back, some collage. Here we have another embroidered and stitched pocket. So I've done some seed stitching, picking up the embroidery, and the seed stitching makes the printed flowers really sort of pop. And I've used a little bit of French knots just to follow the lines in the fabric. Here we have a little pocket with some dangly tags and two more pockets. And here we have a very old piece of looks like a glasses case or something, but it's been embroidered by somebody, like almost like a tester, and I've just slipped that in. And some more tags and a little pocket from the kit and page embroidery. The other side of the Roxy Creations paper from Italy. Another flip out. This time I've used lace as the flip out, which I think looks nice against the ledger paper. And this is a little tall skinny tab, but there's room for writing. This again, this is one of these, it's quite sturdy craft paper which I've covered with collage from the kit, but it's served in a restaurant where you get knives and forks in your napkin now. Little card from the kit, and on this side we've got the thread holder, and here we have a flip circle cut out and pinned back, embellished a little to make it more interesting, and we have a little embellishment there. There's a little journal card that sits inside that pocket. That's the first signature. The second one has a little it's a very old real tape measure when we're made of material, so that's along the bottom there. And an envelope flip out. So I have a little card tucked in there. And this is a bit of jelly printing. And here we have both an embroidered pocket, so it's got pistol stitch and some French knots and a bit of lace. And a bit of ric-rac with French knots up the middle. And this is some scraps of fabric, silk and some cotton. And I've used running stitch and other embroidery stitches just to emphasize. This is a piece of tea stain paper with a little bit of picking up a little bit of avocado staining, which I was doing at the same time, and some of the tea stain paper got little bits of pink in them, which I'm not sure if you can see in this light, but it's definitely pink. And here we have another journal card, which has got lots of stitching, cross stitching and straight stitching. And I've lined it with craft paper to give it a bit more stability. Little more of the tea stain paper with a little bit of avocado stain paper with a little Tim Holtz cutout there. Ledger paper, some tea stain paper. Here we have another envelope, this time a smaller one, and it's got a little tuck spot for a card. And more collage. Little embellishment on the page edge, and here we have a little embellishment on the page edge which I've stuck down onto fabric with a little bit of muslin, and we have a journal card. Another recycled envelope, and this time I've kept it without any ladies on it, but it's got a nice embroidered bird from a very old tapestry. And on this side we've got more embroidery and some tea stain paper and another envelope. This time it's a CD envelope with a big circle, which I've made a tag for with the beautiful lady on her sewing machine. And this one opens out, And we have a tuck spot in here, and we have little pockets, a triple pocket here for small things. Got a little thread holder and some small cards just from my stash. And this is the middle of the second signature, 2 big handmade tags. This is made on believe it or not, this was a beautiful cup. It was a paper cup. When you get tea, you get 2 cups. So I used the bottom cup, which had nothing in it. And it was such a beautiful duck egg blue. I used it to make this beautiful tag. Recycling, it's always good. Some broderie anglaise material, trimmed with lace. And this one is another one with some recycling on the back and the same trim. And here we have a jelly print tuck spot. And that's a Tim Holtz cutout. So I've used the flowers in another journal card, and I just used the cutout in that one. Like, I thought it looked pretty. This is one of the journal pages. These two together make a journal page, but I've used it to make a pocket. So I've got this beautiful lady sewing, and that just sits in there. I'll put it in later. And here we have another fold down page with some silk and some embroidery, some more cotton on the back with some threads to give it some texture, and the other side of the envelope. So we've got a circle in here, and I folded back the paper that circle is made of, and I folded back the craft paper to give this interesting texture around the hole, and a little bit collage. And we've got this wonderful old advert for Wilson machines. They obviously didn't last for time. And here we have different materials and a braid, making collage on the edge, and another flip out. This flip out has another one of these cutouts from the Tim Holtz wildflowers, and some jelly prints and some collage papers from my stash. And this an embroidered envelope. Now, I saw this on YouTube and I honestly can't remember who had made them. So it's just white on white. So it's a little piece of cotton with some, this was a napkin, and I've used it to make this, and then collaged white on white, really, embroidery, it's a little bit silk, and it just makes it so pretty, but I honestly can't remember. I'm so sorry, I need to try and look it up, but I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And that just sits over the page. Other side of the smaller envelope, and we have one of the sewing vintage ladies, and here I have another sewing lady, and this flips out, and we have some note paper here, just different kinds of note paper, and that just slips in there, so you've got somewhere to write, and you could take that with you anywhere. And another one of the thread holders, some beautiful bronze thread, and this is another one of the fabric pockets, so it's based on fabric with some scraps on top, and that is blanket stitch going round and round and round. So that goes in there. Some knitting from a dress that was sent to my daughter for my granddaughter, but it was too scratchy and she couldn't wear it, but I've made use of the material. This time it's a snippet which I've used to make a pocket, so I've lined this on tea stain paper to give it a bit more body, and just you can slip anything you like in there, just a little tag there. And one of the pockets from the kit with some little things in it, and ledger paper, another tag, and a lovely pair of scissors. I love these vintage scissors, they're beautiful shapes. Here I have printed one of the ladies from the kit, but this time I've printed it on material. So it gives a very soft, subtle look to it, and some tea stain paper and a bit of jelly printing on the back. And that's the end of the second signature. And here we have the beginning of the third. This is an old lady advert for the sewing machine from 1860. And here we have a CD envelope where I've cut out a heart shape instead of the circle that was there before. And inside, when you flip it out, I've used the heart cut out to as a pocket on the inside, and this is some embossed tea stain paper and some little tags there. They're from the kit and the little lady. So this is one of my background papers, and here we have a glassine envelope with a long tag, large tag, and some embossed tea stain paper on the back. So in order to write it, I've done the embossing, but then I flattened it. I flattened it by putting it back through the machine after embossing it, and it flattens it so you can write on it, but it's still got that lovely pattern. Tracy Fox label, and another one of the snippet rolls. Roxy Creation did a beautiful tutorial on making these snippets, so it's worth a watch. It's really good. Roxy Creations by Rachel. And more pages from the kit and collage from the kit, and this time I've folded the collage paper over and made a pocket. This is one of Rachel from Roxy Creations, medieval ladies, Italian Renaissance maybe, can't remember what it's called, memory like a sieve. And here we have a page from Victoria Design, I believe, and here we a nice pocket and some old sewing ephemera, and this is an itty bitty tiny envelope. I think this came with a blouse, and the envelope contained buttons, spare buttons, but I just loved it, so I kept it to use. And a little tiny bit of collage, tea stain paper with some lace, and this beautiful feather printed on fabric, and some journal cards, Italian papers, tea stain papers, and another pocket from the kit, and 2 journal cards. This was actually an experiment with blueberries. I think it was blueberries I used. It wasn't terribly successful, but it is vaguely blue. Different colour anyway. Little tuck spot with Tim Holt's cutout from his Wildflowers collection. And here we have an embroidered tag pocket, and we have tea stain paper on the back of this collaged card, and I have not 1 but 2 Tracy Fox labels. And here we have a flap, and a little bit collage on the back to give it a little bit of substance, and we've got these lovely scraps of material, a little bit silk as well, and some muslin lace, just making a pretty collage for the front of the flap. And another edge. I didn't make that a tuck spot, there's probably enough going on. Here we have an envelope recycled and made into a pocket tag. It's a little more substantial because it's got collage on the front as well. And another snippet belly band and some collaged tags. This is a jelly print on top of one of these cards with lines, and this has got, again, this is the back of a cup. It makes a beautiful colour, so I had to rip off there's a sort of waxy interior which just pulls off, and it leaves this duck-egg blue with a beautiful colour. And the cup was free with my tea. Here we have another fold-out envelope. This one I've done a tiny little tab that fits into a slot just to keep it shut. And inside we have a little collage tag and a little advert for needlework. And a Tracy Fox label, just to give it some interest. And one of the images from the kit. And that just slips in there to keep it shut. There we go. Throughout I've got these little stain. Beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. All about sewing. Some Italian paper and some tea stain paper, and a nice big pocket on the back with some tabs, and you can put anything you like in there really. And the back of the Victoria Design paper and another fold down. So I have done stitching in I've stitched with a machine, and to cover the stitching on this side I have added a little bit. That's from Victoria Designs actually. She did a nice sewing kit, and this is just some spare threads from when I'm ripping material up to make my collages, and a little bit of silk. This is one of the pockets from the kit, and the old lady has a tag. She's beautiful, I love her. She looks so incredibly bored by the whole process of having her photograph taken. It's quite funny. Here's one of the thread holders from the kit. So this one I've punched holes in, and you can choose different colours if you're making a project with some embroidery thread. Sometimes it's good to keep a record of what you've done. And here we have another of the duck egg blue papers from the cup. And this belly band is part of the kit. And this is the back. So that's the end of the 3 signatures. And here we have another embroidered tag with folded material with French knots keeping in and down, and a little piece of cotton for the top with a zigzag stitch, a little bit lace trimming. This is a very old piece of embroidery, a sampler that somebody started and never finished, so I've made it into a little folder with a pocket and 2 pieces of material tags in there, just because they're so beautiful. And that just sits inside the front cover, the back cover, sorry. And that's the journal. Now, because this journal is made of material and is reasonably delicate, what I have done, I'm just going to close this. I would normally take more time with the bow, but I'm just going to close this quickly so I can show you the cover. So I'm sending this off with a little pin case. So this little pin case has got embroidery and lace on the front, and it's got felting inside with some pins, some needles, and some old ephemera. So this will come along with your journal, and that just ties in a little bow, just some old lace recycled, and it comes with a folder as well. Sorry, I started this journal twice and the camera went off in the middle of it, so all of these were out of place. Anyway, so this is a folder made of 3 envelopes, and you can see the window envelope there, and a little bit of note paper there so you can write on that, and a journal card there. On the flip side, you got some lovely paper from Pink Monarch Prints, and that's Rachel from Roxy Creations, and you've got this wonderful tag here with this wonderful lady and a fabric trim that fits in here. And then this lovely lady spinning at her spinning wheel, she fits in here, and I've tried very hard to make sure that she appears in the pocket and there she is in the pocket. That closes, and then on the front we have this card with this beautiful lady at her sewing machine. It's when treadles came out, I guess, and so you didn't have to turn the wheel, which gave you 2 hands to hold your work. And that just slips in there, and you see her in the window. So that's that. These 2 things will come with it. And to protect the material, I decided that it needed to have something to protect it. So I have made this case. So this is just an old piece of damask. It's a napkin, and then I've done some patchwork embroidery, just patched some different pieces together and done straight stitching, and a little bit of seed stitching, some French knots, and these are bullion. And on the front it's half of a lace doily, and that and there's an old piece of scrap material protecting the edge. So when it's not in use, your journal can be protected. So it just pops into the envelope, and it's protected from dust, and these extra things can go in as well. So that's it. I hope you have enjoyed this little video and seeing the sewing journal. So for those of you who like to journal and who like to sew like me, it's a good idea to mix the 2, and you can make some spectacular things. I hope you're all well and thank you for watching today, and bye for now.